Okay, hang on, guys. I can't hear myself with this music. Okay. Sorry, guys. Doing some testing over here. Give me a sec. Test 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If I can watch this. Hang on. Testing. Test. 1, 1, test. Test. 1, 1, test. Okay, so it looks like I'm coming through quite nicely. Okay. First and foremost, what's up, you guys? It's your boy Maximus coming back to you with another live stream video. However, as I fairly said in the description, which not all of it went through because I'm using audio, record or whatever to put it all in there. Let's just say I came back with another live stream video. That's number one. Number two, though, the difference is I'm bringing back a old favorable game to more or less put it in or describe it to the fact that I wanted to bring it back because I now have the PS5 version of it. I really enjoy playing this game a whole lot, and that was the slight difference that at the time I didn't have much of playing horror games at the time because I kind of used this game to start doing the whole scary Friday or scary horror game moments beforehand, before I got to other games such as Man of Maiden, for let's never get an example, or Alien Isolation, Poppy Playtime, and so on and so forth. So there's that, number one. Number two, I also brought back this game not just to bring back the ability to play it again, but it's time to live stream it versus to do a whole play the game, record it, edit it after, and then post it from there on, which, I hope those were good too. They're in my channel right now, you know what I'm saying? But besides that, I brought this back. Besides all that I just said, I also wanted to reintroduce to everybody the tapes, the audio tapes for this game that otherwise was phenomenal information and like, let's just put it like incredible insight that had to talk about the franchise of the whole Predator thing, the hunters, because in the end, before this game came out, we didn't know a whole lot about it versus, where you can look up online the whole theory about them, the folklore per se, to more or less put it to sort of put it like that. You know what I mean? But really to tell the in-depth information of what was happening in the background. With these tapes here, especially of now discovering, I don't know if this is new, because I just got this game back altogether, you guys, especially in this version of it. Come to find out, there's now also the old.To recordings as well, evidently. So now we have a third type of audio recordings to collect through this game to find out even more in-depth information about this franchise and those in relations to the whole Predator hunters. And I wanted to share with you guys about that part because, first of all, I didn't know about this. Secondly, if there's even more inside information, whether it has to do with the past or towards the future, of the Predator, hunters and everything that, for the most part, we all know of, right? let's see whatever else is there to know about that we did not know. You get what I'm saying here? Because like I've previously mentioned in my other live stream videos and whatever of comparisons between movie franchises, TV shows, and what may have you, that often talk about comparison of in-depth information from one thing to another, such as a very good example, the whole Star Wars franchise, right? Because with the franchise of Star Wars, from the movies, we know what we know roughly from the movies, except the background information, such as the events that were happening in the background of each of those following movies that led up to, the franchise of the movies that we know to this day, such as Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Star Wars: The Clone Wars talks about in-depth events that are happening between, if I remember correctly, Star Wars #2 and Star Wars #3. You know what I'm saying? Right before it led up to Star Wars, what was it again? Revenge of the Sith, or Empire Strikes Back. I kind of lost track, but let's just say it takes place right before we all know and meet Princess Leia, and all that follows after that. You know what I'm saying? And here in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, is talking about events that we didn't know about between all the Jedi. Anakin once having Padawan, evidently, which was Ahsoka Tano, leading up to an added addition to what she was doing right off to the side after the war, or the rough in between midst of the war, as well as other example is the Bad Batch. What was happening of events in that development as well, and the other following Star Wars franchise movies that we all know about as well. You know what I'm saying? Like Star Wars Rebels, the live action of Ahsoka Tano, and many other grand examples of that right there, of other past events that we either didn't know or couldn't fathom about, of like knowing or to figure out, right, until after sometime later, which gratefully these folks did it, presenting us the background information that led up to the following movies that we just all had just guesses or premature, assumptions about. You get what I'm saying here? I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm just trying to prove a bit of point here, because I recently found out, which again, just like I said in the description, as well as in the thumbnail that you guys will see for this video, spoiler alert, I found out another round of in-depth information, in a matter of speaking, when it comes to the franchise of the Hunters for, the Predator franchise. You know what I'm saying? And I found out, again, one last time, spoiler alert, of the recently animated movie. Yes, I'm gonna call it like that, animated, not cartoon. Let's get that straight now. Animated movie of Killer of Killers, right? There is a hidden clue towards the end of that, and I'm sure you guys either know this or you're going to know on TikTok or whatever somewhere. But I'm gonna tell you this right now, okay? Just cause, and to point out other things from these tapes here I'm about to show you here in a minute. But I found out from the ending of that movie, of in-depth information, that other than the girl from the movie Prey, right? Forgive me if I say her name wrong. Nadu. I hope I'm saying that right. My pronunciation for her name is a little off, but Nadu, right? Which is girl once again from the Prey movie, evidently was seen in the ending of that movie, right? apologies. At the end of the movie, in a how you said, suspended animation pod, right? To where she's there, she's asleep, she looks as young as we last saw her from the ending or the whole franchise of the movie. But yet here in Kill of Killers, she's in suspended animation, asleep. But besides her, guess what? There's also the detective from the Predator #2 and Dutch from the first Predator movie. All three of them are there in suspended animation. Okay, imagine, picture that real quick. You know what I'm saying? As far as let's just say this. As far as I was concerned, I thought they were cool. They got away from the whole thing scot free. After each one of them in their own, perspectives, their own ways to figure the hunters and everything, that they'll be all right, that they'll be chill, But I guess evidently, in the clan, right? Because obviously most of us do know or should know that each of these hunters are based off of specific clans, evidently, right? Such as, if most of you who are fans of the franchise as well as the fan of this game here should know excuse me, I'm stuttering here. Of a game is based off of possible connected, let's just say, clues, right? That there are other species, other different types of predators. You are correct about that, because this clan here, in particular, that had these people from the franchises, evidently, they have this thing, right, to where for each person who has defeated their own, hunters in battle, right, they end up going back for them in some kind of way, shape, or form, right? Abduct them, put them into a sleep and everything. Then after that, they go ahead and take it upon themselves to put them in this arena, to get them to fight each other. And then once there is a determined winner based off of the events that will take place for any of these top 3 following species that took out each of their own hunters, right? Then there's this one big hunter, big old son of a gun, looking like he about like 11 foot, maybe weighs like 900 pounds. I'm just saying, because he's a big ass dude. All right, he is huge. Pause. But on a real note, like it's ridiculous how freakishly large this dude is, and obviously several trophies he has obviously collected over the years or something. Anyways, to where he goes ahead and faces off with the winner of the little contest there, and then after that, determining the winner, he makes them, as the usual case, those with the highest trophy gets the most respect. You know what I mean? So that leads up to what we all know of their moral code. Because it's like this. It's like this, you guys. In Predator 2, we saw that whole trophy case with different types of species there. Most likely and evidently at the current, at that point in time, were known as the most fearsome and most, pretty deadly of them all. And depending on the amount of trophies that each person has, maybe even the size of each of the following species earns the most respect from those who have collected, you know what I'm saying? Or is the number of trophies overall versus from anybody else. You get what I'm saying here? Right? So it's like with this Predator, which I found out roughly his name is the General King. I guess evidently he gained the most trophies and the most respect. That is, if he is one of those, leaders of the clan that follows the code with the most trophies earns the most respect. You get what I'm saying here? Because, like I said, there's different types of clans out there, actually. Many different other clans. Even though, from what I found out and or did a little research on, there's two in particular clans that kind of correspond to being the same type. You get what I'm saying here? Like, basically like the same general sense of their name of the clan, but yet it sort of is a little different too. But it's questionable because it's like kind of iffy of which is the case about it. But all the same, that's what that's what that is. Like here's another example. If you guys remember, I forgot what year it was. I want to say between 2014, 2015, probably lesser than that. But let's just say, if you guys recall the movie The Predators, that had those other three top geared predators. Evidently, to me, I would call them as the Lost Clan, or if not being the Rogue Predators, because that's why I first saw them too, because they look like a bunch that that definitely took things in a whole different perspective of things. Actually, no, my bad, my mistake. I found out for those three in particular, they technically actually have a specific name to them. Give me a sec. Hold that thought. Hold that thought, you guys. Hang on. Okay. Here we go. Okay, hold on. My bad. I think I got the wrong information. Hang on, guys. Okay. I am so sorry, guys. My information is a little off from when I last sourced this up. Okay, so I can't find what I'm looking for, because evidently what I'm looking for has disappeared, because this was like 2 or so days ago when I looked this up. Okay, so from what I remember from then, you guys, was that the ones who took 8 or so of these Earthlings from Earth and taken to this nature preserve planet is called the Rogue Hunters, as well as, if I remember correctly, again, from what I looked up way back when, was Cursed Earth Hunters. Supposedly. I doubt it. I'd rather call them the Rogue Hunters. Anyways, to where those Rogue Hunters, as I suspected way back when, this was a few years ago, right, that these 3 lone hunters here that had that other hunter hooked up and chained like some kind of prisoner and everything, whereas, as you guys would have expected or guessed already, are Rogue Hunters that otherwise, that they were a bunch that at one point in time, we don't know what point in time, but let's just say at some point in time, evidently all 3 of them chose not to follow a clan's code, which the code, as you all know, is that unless the prey in question is holding a weapon or is presumed to be a threat of any kind per se, right? Whether it's a human with a gun and grenades and such things as that, right? Of any form, again, any form of a weapon, as well as a random alien that has like sharp claws and is in a threatening base standard and what may have you, right? Those are the only ones you can hunt. Not like I can't say not women, children, but technically yes. Definitely, not the young, not random innocent animals, of the sorts, and definitely not the weak and sick, right? Such as from the movie Alien versus Predator, when that Predator had that one CEO gentleman in his hands. He scanned through and noticed he was sick and everything. And as far as he was concerned with, did not pose a threat because of how sick he was, because he had cancer. And according to like Wikipedia or the known knowledge of the hunters, their rule is not to hunt and or kill of those, you know, of such standards. Thus, why the predator had just threw him, off to the side, and otherwise let him go because that's not part of their moral code. You know what I mean? Versus if it was one of those other rogue hunters, instead they would have killed him on the spot. They wouldn't have cared, not given a damn or anything like that. You guys, he just would have died right there and then, if he had to face off with one of them instead. But that wasn't the case. Thus being, there's often different types of predators, as again, as known or theorized or whatever, but it's possible. Which I did once mention of the female predators, which I come to find out there's actually a separate clan, right, for them. I forgot what they're called though. Oh no, they're called the Widow clan. There you go. And from what I read about of them, that they are a known women tribe, a clan, right? To where they're one of the few who were left over that otherwise didn't die, or what may have you, because their counterparts, their male counterparts, had otherwise most of them had died, during a hunt or so, versus them not as much. And they were led by what was it again? A 7-foot, all scarred, female predator. In a sense of. So there's that, you guys. So there is an actual clan and everything. I can't speak of if there's like other, women hunters in these other clans versus this one in particular, and specifically separate from any other, But it is known to be a proven fact all the same. Anyways, I'm sorry, I'm getting off a little topic here. But let's just say, back to Killer of Killers, that whichever tribe this is, I want to call it the Lost Tribe, honestly, because out of all the other hunters known to us, I never met a clan of hunters like this, that once their own gets defeated and everything, then they go up, or I'm sorry, they go down to the planet of Earth to pick up those that otherwise they had deemed worthy of the effort and everything to go get, right? That they figured, hey, let's take this person, because since they seem efficient, well equipped, well knowledge, well whatever, that was able to take out one of our own, bring him here, let him or her fight the other following two in a death match, and then thus letting this general king have the spoils right after that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, so what clan is this that does this kind of shit? Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just kind of out of whack, almost out of character per se. Because again, as far as any of us, I'm just guessing here, had figured that once they were defeated and that was it, they figured that person in particular was a threat and they should mess with her so again and just move on to the next. But clearly not. Because again, towards the end of that movie, I see all three of them in this suspended animation and everything, and many other species behind them in the background. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, this sort of makes some sense, but yet leaves some more questions at the same time. Because at the same time, if you guys remember, in Alien versus Predator, right? There was the Predator that was with that one human doctor chick, right? However, I didn't see her with the others in the suspended animation, thus making me to believe, because she was marked by that, fairly to say, high ranked or in the midst of becoming a hunter predator, right at the time, and he had chosen to mark her as one of his own because of their law, the clan's law or moral code. Sorry, I had to get some water. Sorry, what was I again? Oh, because of the moral code, and otherwise, another way of putting it, code of honor, right? He has otherwise, let's just say, as an example to put it, deputized, or otherwise has marked her as one of their own, as a true hunter. Especially since she was capable of killing a high valued and very, dangerous creature, aka an alien such as the xenomorph. He's seen that, and otherwise, as far as he's concerned, he recognizes her, regardless if she is the same species as him as not, as a fellow hunter. Thus, he marked her. Everybody else has seen that, at least the high-ranking hunter at the time, the one who gave her the spear afterwards as a reward and everything else, right? And they shine down their light of beam to her as one of their own. So, by the code, right? Again, I'm guessing here, but I'm assuming it is the case too, that she is marked as one of their own. Thus, she is untouchable, basically. To where whatever occurs from there on, they have no reason to go pick her up or do anything else further, because she has been marked as one of their own. That being said, that's why I was wondering why she wasn't there and everything, through the post ending. So it hit me as because she had that mark. Because I can't say all of them have it. I really can't. But I'm assuming because most of them are based off of that very same mark of theirs, right? Of being a hunter and everything else, had led up to being that. So it's like, if the other three, would have been given the same mark, as being a respectable hunter to be, seen and recognized as, and everything else that followed, just like that doctor and everything from Alien versus Predator, right? They probably could have been spared to being where they're at right now. You know what I mean? Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. Like I said, it's like some of it makes sense, some of it raises questions and everything from that movie alone, you guys. So it's like, okay, so there is this new one coming up, Bloodlands or Blood Badlands or something like that. Either way, it's a dope ass name. I don't care, but it's like what's gonna happen next, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna be the new rules, the same rules? What time frame? What period? You know what I'm saying? Because if you guys seen the trailer, it's a very good trailer too. Go check it out. it has been seen where this young hunter is trying to prove himself by going to another planet to fight off a damn near, unless it's possible, I don't know, but a damn near impossible foe of a creature that most of any other hunter, from what I heard about, that has found it damn near impossible to kill. But yeah, here comes this young hunter who's gonna say, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot. But at the same time, he is with this android that's from this company, literally from the whole Aliens franchise that we all know of. So it's like, okay, where we at on this though? Because it's like kind of seeing the Aliens is one franchise, the Hunters is another franchise, but yeah, at the same time, it's like they're all happening in different time periods. You know what I'm saying? So it's like in the Alien franchise, where the Predators are the whole time. But deep in space somewhere else versus, the aliens being in the bitter future where, the Earthlings having androids, having the way to fly into space and visit other planets and everything else, where they're in that very same, time frame, period, because versus Alien versus Predator franchises and everything else, as far as we're all concerned, we're in the time period where no one else can fly in space and everything except for them. You know what I mean here? But yeah, here we are in the upcoming movie, which again, it looks to be one hell of a movie to see real soon. I can't wait to see it. I'm dying to see it right now, but I can't fast forward time or nothing like that, to where we're fixing to see two different time period, beings, such as the being of this young hunter and the being of this android, and all those in corresponds gonna, be joined together and producing a whole new, time period here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it keeps raising, like some answers being answered from one movie, one franchise to another, but then when folks make these other ones, which actually gets very interesting to me, like it seriously does, that raises the question like, so where does this come from though? Like what happened here? What's gonna happen next? You know what I'm saying? Like truly, I'm sorry guys, I know I've been talking a whole lot and everything. I just want to point this out because it's like very fascinating to me of this stuff, because they keep, like I said, they keep putting new things here and there of, what's being explained, what's being told, what was next after another, and so on and so forth. But yet, when they come out with the next set of movies, it kind of raises more questions. Like the whole, again, Alien franchise. We thought it was done. That was it. You know what I'm saying? Especially maybe a little bit after Alien Covenant. But yeah, here we are with Alien Romulus, thus explaining further events that was happening in the Alien franchise, of other events that were happening in the background, as far as we knew from the original, what was it, 4, with Rhea Ripley and everything else, versus the other ones that came out sometime after that, explaining in betweens. You know what I'm saying here? And then here we are also with that being the Predator movies. From the first two, from 19-something leading up to and/or towards the Predators and the ones after that. So it's like, there's more and more, things to be fascinated about, that just is like leaves you hanging on what's gonna happen next. You know what I mean here? And then besides the movie, we none of us should forget, and or we should try to remember, there's also the upcoming TV show. By the way, you guys, there's the upcoming TV show as well that's coming up pretty soon or so. I forgot when, but it's coming up. It's coming up real quick. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, so what's gonna happen next? What's more to come? You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna leave it at that. I've been talking too damn much. I'm about to lose my voice. I got dry throat. So let me start playing these tapes, you guys, so you can understand my point of view of things. We're gonna go one by one, as well as as you guys can see from the top right hand corner of these cassette tapes, that shows each of the following year of events that was taking place. Excuse me, taking place. See, I'm losing my voice, you guys. I've been talking too damn much. But let's get into it. Now, as you guys can see in the top left hand corner, it says Dutch tapes. This is all that was happening with Dutch, aka the human who survived and or defeated a predator from the first movie. This is what this is happening in. This is going to start in 1987, you guys, and it's going to take place all the way to 2025. And guess what? We're in 2025. We're almost in 2026. But let's get into it.
It's September 12th, 1987. My name is Major Alan Schaefer, also known as Dutch, U.S. Army veteran, Special Ops Commander, and the only survivor of the Valverde incident. These tapes are my personal testimony. Insurance. Should anything happen to me, what I found won't be lost. My team was brought in to rescue a Guatemala cabinet minister and his aide, who had been captured by guerrilla forces in Valverde. We located the downed helicopter, and the skinned bodies of those aboard hung in nearby trees, seemingly at the hands of guerrilla fighters. After assaulting their camp, it became clear that the mission was a setup. American intelligence had sent us to retrieve the captured agents who had been on recon for future military action. But none of that matters, because while we were clearing out the guerrillas, something was hunting us. An invisible killer tracked us as we made our way to the extraction point. In 24 hours, it wiped out my entire team. Rick Hawkins, Blaine Cooper, Mac Elliott, Billy Soul, Jorge Ramirez, and Al Dillon. The best soldiers I've ever known. Men I trusted with my life were butchered like animals. It was a nightmare. We walked in with guns, but it had perfect camouflage, advanced weaponry, and could see heat. It was strong and smart, a pitiless hunter. I waited, I watched, and when I understood it, when I saw how it hunted, I killed it. As it lay dying, in a final fuck you, it activated an explosive device. I barely escaped that blast. My radiation sickness and the crater of the explosion are the only evidence it ever was here. I've given my official statement to Agent Peter Keyes of the OWLF, but it's become clear I needed to investigate Valverde myself. Keyes was thorough, but he asked all the wrong questions. I mean, we have proof of alien life, but that life sees us as game. It's an alien whose first contact with humanity was to hunt us for sport. All Keyes cared about was the technology lost in the explosion. He can see the jungle for the trees. I see the threat. He sees the opportunity. Spies are all the same. I mean, we aren't people to them. We are assets. How many soldiers will he feed to those monsters just for a chance to steal from them or to learn from them? The government can't be trusted. So I will have to do this on my own. I'm cutting my treatment short and going off the grid. I will make my way back to South America to Valverde. I was told that there were stories about demons who make trophies of man. I'd like to hear those stories. It's September 12th, 1987. My name is Major Alan Schaefer, also known as Dutch, U.S. April 8th, 1991. I'm not dead yet. I'll admit, I regret not curing my radiation sickness before I left. It made leaving the country difficult. I cashed in a few favors, took one too many off-the-book flights in rusted-out buckets, but I made it back to Valverde. The area was on lockdown, sealed by American intelligence for study. The complex centered on a crater from the alien self-destruction. I found the scientists slumming in the local bar. A few drinks, a couple of threads later, he was ready to talk. It wasn't much, barely anything I didn't already know. The blast emitted a form of radiation they'd never seen before. Some believed it was extraterrestrial, some didn't. Either they're not too bright, or there's nothing to find. I decided to let them keep searching in vain. It kept them busy and off my trail. I've been touring villages and small towns using the cover of an author writing about South American folklore. I don't know if any of them bought in, but they took my money and told their stories. The closer they were to the jungle, the more stories of devils in the trees. Some were bullshit, made up on the spot, but some carried consistencies that I couldn't ignore. Whatever it was, the demons who make trophies of man, the devil of the trees, or the skull taker, the stories always began on the hottest summer that they could remember. In the summer of 1987, Valverde nearly broke its all-time high in temperatures. They love the heat. It must remind them of home. Everything else confirmed the truth of the stories. Proud warriors skinned and hanged, skulls and spines ripped from their bodies. Maybe it was obvious from the beginning, but it wasn't until I heard the stories that I truly accepted the purpose of these mutilations. I mean, they're taking trophies. They travel impassable distances to hunt us, skin us, and mount us over some alien fireplace on another world. It would be disgusting if it weren't so familiar. Where do I go now? It's been on my mind all year. The takeaway from all this intel is that they've been doing this for decades, centuries maybe. They're coming back, and I need to be there when they do. June 27th, 1992. It's hard to remember that the most important part of an operation is patience. You can plan the perfect op, but you can't account for everything. If shit goes south, there's nothing to do but to adapt and finish the mission. Sometimes you just get lucky. I was in the dock, 10 clicks downriver from the Valverde border, figuring out my next move. I was ready to pack it in. I thought that I'd learned everything that I could, that there was nothing left for me to find. The OWLF had abandoned the detonation site a year ago, and I thought that they already shipped back to America. That's when I saw Agent Peter Keyes tie his skiff to the dock. I haven't seen Keyes since I gave my official statement to him. It was impossible, but there he was, with 3 of his buddies. All agents. The clean, tidy outfits give them away all the time. They don't want to get down in the dirt, you see. That's what they pay soldiers to do. Keyes walked up, looked right at me, and shook my hand. With the radiation sickness, I've lost a lot of weight, so I thought that he maybe would not recognize me. But then he greeted me like we were old pals. Keyes is a good spy, saying nothing, implying everything. We spent the next few hours trading war stories at the bar. If you'd heard us, you would never have suspected we were trading intel on an alien manhunter. His cover was that they have been looking for a serial killer, a sadist who has been operating in the area for years, hunting people like animals and then skinning them alive. Keyes wanted to talk about the monster, so it all came out in the cover story. In many ways, They were just a few steps behind, surveying villages for information, locating witnesses. He did confirm one thing that I only considered. He told me how the killer chose his victims. They were always armed. A rifle, a pistol, a knife in a boot. He wasn't taking kids or random villages. He wanted a challenge. Whatever it was a hunter. When it killed for sport. I wish they were here for a military action, recon for an invasion. But the truth was so much worse. We are prey, animals, fit only to be hunted. Keys and his buddies paid the tab and mine, but before he left, he winked at me and he said, "Stay out of the jungle. That's where he gets you." I tracked Keys and his team for weeks, but they didn't learn anything new. Maybe they knew that I was there, maybe they didn't, I don't know. I've risked enough for now. I think it's time to disappear. Keep my ear to the ground. Be patient. March 3rd, 1996, Zaire. I thought I could wait. I thought that I could hold back and make my move at the right time. I couldn't. Fuck. I had to find them. I needed to hunt it or let it hunt me. I joined up with any private military company that was headed into the hot zone. I pulled every string, cashed out every favor just to follow the sweat and the death that attracted the demon. I eventually put together a team myself. Lost soldiers and haunted men, willing to fight and to die wherever I led them. They thought that I was a legend, and I let them believe that. I'm quiet and good in what I do. They needed them to see me as a legend, so that they could take them to die in a sweltering jungle. We went on more missions than I can remember. We didn't fire until we were fired at. They thought that it was my code. It wasn't. I was waiting and watching. Our last mission was an evac app in the Congo. A private munition base had gone dark. When we arrived, they'd been dead for days. Bodies strung up on floodlights around the base, all of them skinned, some missing skulls and spines. We secured the site and waited for backup to arrive. In the heat of the day, I stared into the waves of heat coming off the concrete, thinking that any minute they might come alive as the invisible killer. And then they did. I didn't wait. I unloaded every round I had. Trusting me, my team fired in the same direction. It wasn't the first time I'd done it, but this time I knew what I was looking for. It was so fast, we couldn't hit it. We panicked, and stray rounds struck the crate of RPGs. And that explosion hit other munitions that exploded. By the time the smoke cleared, the demon was dead, but so were all my men. I took samples of its blood, pieces of its anatomy, and what tech that I could salvage. And then I burned everything. Then it disappeared. I never checked in with HQ. As far as I know, I was counted among the dead. October 12, 1997, Los Angeles. I needed to come back to the States. It wasn't impossible to sneak contraband through customs, but I wasn't willing to risk what I found in the Congo falling into the wrong hands. Instead, I traveled to Mexico aboard a cargo ship bound for the port of Altamira. From there, I made my way to Tijuana, and I bunkered down. I had tangible proof of extraterrestrial life in my possession, but no idea what to do with it. I'm not a scientist. I did a soldier's duty and secured valuable intel. This was out of my pay grade. I kept an eye on the news. Los Angeles was having a record-breaking heat wave and a gang war on the streets. It was perfect. I could feel it in my bones. I'd been tracking them for so long, I could think like them. I could smell the prey. I could see the hunting ground. I had to get to LA. Crossing back into the States from Tijuana wasn't that difficult, but by the time that I'd reached the city, it was already over. Like Valverde, the OWLF only found crumbs. What I'd hoped might be an alien ship turned out to be only a launching site. I wanted it too much, and I got sloppy. I breached the OWLF's quarantine and was captured. I'd hoped to be bailed out by Agent Keys, but he died. With Keys gone, the OWLF was leaderless and disorganized. I was interrogated, but I negotiated my release by bartering the alien materials that I'd recovered from the Congo. During the negotiations, it was clear how little they knew. They needed someone who understood the threat, so I offered to work with the OWLF as a consulting advisor. They had the funding, the technology that I needed to continue my hunt. I wouldn't work for them, but I would work with them. There will be a weapon that I can use to hunt down these predators as they move to fresh ground. It's only a matter of time until they see us as a real threat. When the prey can fight back, it's no longer a hunt. It is war. March 3rd, 2008. We've gotten good at killing predators. Every time we find one, we come back with more tech, more research, and the OWLF's funding goes up. Together, we have gotten stronger and more efficient. For a time, the aliens were surprisingly predictable. They had no idea that we knew so much about them. But that began to change. They sent better hunters every time. They're beginning to see us as a threat. Or we've become a more worthy prize. Maybe both. We know this because our last encounter was special. We weren't certain if they had any gender to speak of, but that changed when we came into contact with the female. She was smarter and deadlier. She didn't fuck around like the males did. She was direct, ruthless, and skilled. I was in Laos when we first came into contact with her. It was Valverde all over again. Her ambush wiped out my entire team. Only this time, she got me. In a small village, I lost track of her, just long enough for her to pin me with a razor net. Pinned against the wall, razors cutting into my face. I've been fighting for so long, I was ready to die. I should be dead. Instead of making the kill, she cloaked and vanished into the jungle. The net relaxed, and I escaped with my life, and a scar to remember her by. She spared me. Only me. Like she knew who I was. I returned to the exfil. My first failed mission in a long time. Are we going about this wrong? I mean, we've learned so much. But in doing so, have we made ourselves a bigger target? I can't stop thinking about something Napoleon said. You must not fight too often with one enemy, or you will teach them all your art of war. I started this believing that we were learning how to hunt them, or maybe she let me live to just be hunted another day. We were teaching them how to hunt us. January 13th, 2019. I knew that the Predator's deployment to Earth would make it impossible to keep all of this a secret. Sooner or later there would be another player on the board. I'd hoped that it would be another agency, one that understood and respected the threat. Project Stargazer. Our initial intelligence on Stargazer was that they were capable, funded, but inexperienced. But they were smart. They took the OWLF's funding and got it shut down. Everyone we could identify in their group was a disavowed member of another agency, including the OWLF. Lacking strong leadership and a clear directive, they were sloppy and arrogant. They were aware of the Predator's threat, and while they had many of the pieces, they struggled to see the bigger picture. Stargazer was so far behind that we didn't see them as a threat until the event in Mexico. The recovered Predator escape pod was an extraordinary find for Stargazer, but the death toll was a heavy price to pay for taking a Predator captive. My task force has many directives, but one of the most primary is we do not take captives. Retrieve technology, corpses, and other intelligence. But there's no value in a live Predator, only liability. The enemy does not want peace. The enemy does not negotiate. Its only drive on Earth is to hunt. What we might learn from a captive Predator would never be worth the risk to our people. Stargazer didn't learn from their mistakes, and the technology they've recovered has only made them cocky. When the government cut ties to the agency, it should have shuttered their project permanently, but they only shifted their goals. Guerrilla factions and private military companies are being contracted by Stargazer to set up bases and equipment in locations that we have identified as ideal hunting grounds. We believe that the former intelligence project is setting itself up to be a fully independent dealer of otherworldly arms. This is the worst-case scenario. Hostile forces will use those weapons on their enemies, and they will use them on us. All the while, the true enemy stalks us unseen. It's a distraction mankind can't afford. Stargazer will have to be dealt with. "2025. It's hard to believe that I'm still here recording this. I probably shouldn't be smoking in the med bay, but fuck it, it's my birthday, for Christ's sakes. I turned 78 today, but I'm out there hunting. I should be retired. I should be doing anything but this. My life shouldn't be possible. But the very thing that I hunt, that hunts me, is what's keeping me alive. As we began to understand the Predator's technology, we started to use it. A fight with a Predator female went bad and I was critically wounded. Dying, I agreed to experimentation. It worked. It worked so well that the cells in my body stopped aging. Pushing 80 now, I'm fighting like a man in his 40s. It's not the only experiment that I've been part of. I'm deadlier now than I was in Valverde. The OWLF has been fully reinstated. It's grown larger than ever before. We saved John Keyes from Stargazer. His father was Peter Keyes. I suppose you could say that he was a very dear acquaintance. His son is a gifted scientist. I worry about the future. The Earth is seeing unprecedented rise in heat and war. As the climate changes and the temperatures go up, more and more countries are becoming hunting grounds. We've killed so many of their kind, but they only send more. The number of events that we have witnessed has increased threefold in 10 years. We have made an impression on them, but not like we had hoped. We wanted to show them that we weren't prey, to deter them from ever sending another hunter to our world. We sent a warning, but they took it as a challenge. I fear we have made things worse. If the predators ever decide that we've grown too bold, I have no doubt that they could burn the earth and all of humanity with it. My only hope is that while they waste their time on sport, we can rise up together and stand against them as a species. Until then, we keep moving, we keep hunting, and we keep our eyes open.
Okay, so you guys caught all that from Dutch. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. Now we're tracking back what was all the events occurring from 19 something to 2025. Excuse me. Thus being why in the game here wise we see him as older, as he is, but yet with this high tech equipment, guns, knives, all this other great jazz. And he looks older than he's supposed to be. He looks still fit and all within this game, but that's because he was undergoing an experiment that these dudes had given to him. But I'm assuming it's because of the blood and everything from the live predator or whatever the case it was, right? That he was given by these folks, thus being like he said, he's 78 years old, but yet he's still fighting and having a good fight and then some, as if he was 40 years old. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, damn. But then again, it kind of makes some sense, given the predators and everything, right? They could be much older than any of us can really expect them to be. Any of them, And yet they all still fight and then some, like they're like they're in the age that they're supposed to be in their prime of, versus whatever age they actually could be at their current moment in time. Take for example the General King, right? He looked like someone who's like 100, maybe 200 years old, give or take, as an example, right? But yeah, he still looks and still moves and everything like he's like he's in his 30, 35, 40s. You know what I'm saying? Because the only way to really move like that is if you're as young as that, if not maybe even younger. And that's besides all the training and then some that his species has undergone and was taught and whatever the case else is, right? To continue on as they have been thus far, So it really it really tells a whole lot from from Dutch's takes of the events that was happening in the background, because all this shit we didn't know. You know what I'm saying? All this shit right here, guys, was never said or told. But that's fine. That's okay. That's why thankfully we have more like TV shows, the games, comic books, and so on and so forth. So forth, that help us, the people, the audiences, get a outside aspect of things. You know what I'm saying? But then again, it still doesn't explain the whole why is he in suspended animation and Kill of Killers. But I'm assuming we're gonna find out at some point in time. Maybe it's actually in here somewhere, and I've yet to see it or find the tapes for it. Because like I said, you guys, look, there's this the OWLF's recordings, and check this out. Let me tell y'all something. Look at this shit. Look at this. I found one by accident when I got back to replaying this game again. I just found one. From like I said, from accident when I was, because I usually collect the materials every time when I do a match or so in this game, you guys. And sometimes you may or may not collect these tapes, all the time. Sometimes they're by chance. Sometimes it's a update per se of the sort. I don't know, but mainly it's only after every other time I do a match, and that's why I'm hoping for the next time I may do a stream or so of this, you guys, I can collect all these tapes, because right here this was like shit. It's like 30 to 50 of these tapes. So this is gonna be the next time I may have to do do this part, you guys. It's gonna be a long video versus however long it is now. Now we're gonna go to the Isabella tapes, the girl from the Predators, and we're gonna find out what was the events or so that took place with her, thus being why or how she's in this game now with us. But on that note, I'll be right back, you guys. I have to go do something right quick, so hold that thought. Okay, apologies everybody. I have now returned so we can continue on where we left off. Now, unfortunately, for the Isabella tapes, and or clearly to another way to put it, USB drives, she only has 4 of them, unfortunately. However, hopefully, at least with these 4 alone, can share some insight of the events that had occurred with her from the last time we ever saw her. You know what I'm saying? And that once again, as I hope to progress and get further along into the game, I can potentially find all of the OWLF recordings as soon as I possibly can, because it's a lot of them, you guys. As soon as I possibly can, I will do another live stream of this, another part 2 of this. Other than, of course, in between, if I can or so, I will do live streams of me playing the game as well, and you guys can progress with me on events of if and when I collect them, or how I proceed into the game versus a premature recording of it. Then other than that, let's get to it. Let's see what we can do, what we can get through with any or all forms of information we're fixing to gather from Isabella, and take it from there.
Know how long this is going to take?
Hang tight. We just got to get this thing recording.
I'm a foreign national being held unlawfully. You have no jurisdiction.
Look, okay, you were right. Legally speaking, we had no right to enter Mexican airspace, no right to confiscate exotic materials, and no right to detain you.
This is a black site.
Yes, ma'am.
United States.
It could be Canada.
Climate's wrong. And your accents.
Smart. Well, Miss Nissenbaum.
Sergeant Major.
Sergeant Major Isabel Abigail Nissenbaum. Numerous commendations, though no mention of total confirmed kills, which I'm guessing is rather high.
It is.
But then there's this last note. Current status, absent without leave. Now, why would someone with an impressive service record decide to go AWOL?
I was taken.
Taken?
Abducted.
Mm-hmm. That little buggy you landed proves as much. Sergeant Major, I believe you've had contact with an aggressive alien civilization, one whose culture is deeply saturated in the ritual hunting of other intelligent species.
Like in Guatemala.
Well, we're aware of the Valverde incident. I'm surprised you are.
Word gets around.
Horde of alien manhunters wiping out special ops in the jungle gets around? Unlikely. I'm guessing you're a wet work type. Assassins tend to have unsavory friends with classified intel.
I wouldn't know.
Sergeant Isabel, look, we already have the ship. The only thing I want from you is your story. After that, we'll fly you home, first class, hot towels, and the whole shebang.
Why should I trust you?
Because we're trying to stop them. And by the look of the inventory in that ship, so were you. Alien jawbones, thermal netting, predator armor, and a bolt-action sniper rifle. Ballistics says it's been fired a lot. All right, Sergeant Major. Cards on the table. We're a task force directed by the United States government to assess and respond to a very real alien threat. One that attacked first and continues to do so with impunity.
How many have been on Earth?
That's classified.
More than 1? 5? 10? 100?
Too many.
You don't know.
Well, I know you've killed one, likely more. I know you commandeered an alien spacecraft and successfully piloted it back to Earth. I'd like to know more. I'm also one of a select few on this planet who will believe you. I promise I will do everything I can to take what you tell me and use it against these monsters.
Fine. Go ahead.
Where were you when you were abducted?
I was on a mission.
And what were you doing in the moments before your abduction?
Hiding.
Care to elaborate?
No.
Okay. Describe being abducted.
During the course of the mission, I slept. When I woke up, I was falling, like in a nightmare.
You fell asleep, and then you were falling.
It was a parachute insertion, like a halo jump. By the time I realized what was happening, the chute opened on its own. I thought I'd wake up, but I didn't. It was real.
From that elevation, could you recognize anything?
No. There was only jungle.
Sergeant Major Nissenbaum, in your estimation, during the time of your abduction, do you believe you were on Earth?
No, I do not.
Sergeant Major, a terrestrial weapon was found inside the alien spacecraft. Bolt-action sniper rifle. Was this rifle assigned to you?
It was, by my request.
Was your rifle slung on your person when you fell asleep?
No, but I was holding it.
What did you do after landing?
I did a supply check of my person and began to recon the area. I was disoriented. I worked under the assumption that I was on Earth, but somewhere I'd never been. It soon became obvious that this was not the case.
And how did you arrive at that conclusion?
The combination of flora was wrong. Too many species together that shouldn't have been. Others that I couldn't identify at all.
Were you alone during this time?
At first.
There were others.
Not long after landing, I spotted an American mercenary, a Mexican cartel enforcer, and a Spetsnaz Special Forces soldier debriefing each other. I believe we were deployed to the planet at the same time. Over the course of several hours, we found 2 American serial killers, a Yakuza enforcer, and a member of a Sierra Leone RUF death squad. It didn't take long to see what we had in common.
Killing.
Yes. Yeah. Given the situation, we agreed to work together to find a way out of the jungle. After a short time, it became clear we were being pursued. Hunted.
Can you expand on that?
There were traps. Hunting animals used to flush us out. No shelters or signs of civilization. We concluded that the planet was a kind of preserve. We'd been brought there as prey.
The whole planet was a game preserve.
As far as we could tell, yeah.
Of the 8 of you, how many survived?
Myself and the American mercenary.
You get his name?
Royce.
So tell me about Royce.
What do you want to know?
He got a last name?
I never asked.
Why do you think you and Royce were the only survivors?
Killing doesn't keep you alive. We'd infiltrate, complete the mission, and get out. We were trained to survive, not to butcher civilians.
You two sound chummy. How did you earn his trust so quickly?
I didn't at first. It was very difficult to earn his trust. He worked with us because it was tactically advantageous. He saw us as disposable.
And how do you know that?
When we were trying to identify the enemy, he used us as bait to lure them out. Someone died.
And why would you want the trust of a man like that?
Look at the list I gave you. Do you see a lot of trustworthy men? I knew he was my best shot at getting out alive. And I was right.
How did Royce help you get off the planet?
We killed the aliens that were hunting us, but we were injured. We grew close while we hid to recuperate. I think we would have left together if they hadn't marked him.
Marked him? How?
He killed the hunters, survived for so long. They must thought he was worthy. So they gave him armor.
Predator armor?
Yeah, but tailored for a human. He'd often spoken about how we secretly enjoy hunting men, that it was dishonest to think otherwise. When they gave him that armor, it was like the gods telling him he was right all along. That's when I lost him.
Where's Royce now?
He used the armor's cloak to find a landing site. He took me to it, and there was some kind of dropship and a smaller skiff. I thought we'd both take the skiff, but he said he wanted to meet them, face to face. I argued with him, pleaded, but there was no point. Whatever connection he had to humanity, to me, died in the jungle. His ship disappeared into the clouds, and I was alone.
I want you to know I appreciate your cooperation here today. We're going to be chewing on your testimony for months.
Sure.
But now to the part that, frankly, I am really excited to hear about. How did you pilot an alien spacecraft back to Earth? And just to be clear, there are like 9 engineers with their ears pressed against that door. So, be specific.
Before he left, Royce unlocked and readied both ships using the computer on his armor. I don't know if he could have done more, or if he just didn't care to. But he responded to me as though I were one of the hunters. Everything was in their language.
Well, how did you decipher their system?
We're trained in naval navigation, so some things made sense out of practicality. Others I figured out through trial and error. Time was difficult to judge there, but I slept several times as I worked it out. It's funny how simple it must be for them. So many controls had images and holograms. I don't think the hunters are very smart.
What do you mean?
We saw so many of them. Big ones, man-sized ones, but all hunters. There were no mechanics or techs. No one ever performed maintenance. If something broke, they abandon it. I think it all works for them, but they don't know how it works.
Would you fuck off? That's been a running theory of ours. Please, continue.
I found a planetary directory and just spent hours going through it until I found Earth. I grabbed my supplies and started pushing buttons in the directory until the ship rumbled, and then I sat down and prayed. I don't know how long I was on the ship. Long enough to go through my food, but not long enough to starve to death. It was quiet. I spent my time sleeping, soundly for the first time, I don't know how long. I woke up once and there was Earth, huge and blue. The ship wanted a landing zone, but I couldn't read the locations, so I chose at random.
Sounds like you got lucky.
I guess.
Well, that about covers it. I just want to say, you've been through a horrible ordeal, but the OWLF thanks you for your assistance.
Good.
If you want to be of any more help, there are interested parties who are impressed with how you handled yourself. People who could use your unique skills to continue the fight.
I'm ready to go home. I'm not interested in working for America.
They're not strictly American. Let's say they're an international response team. Here's my card. That number there is my personal cell number, should you change your mind.
I'll think about it. Goodbye, Agent Keys.
So check it, you guys. See all that? All that information to have regathered right there and then. So now we know, once again, I've done this once before, you guys. Way back when and whatnot. So just to rehear it again now is just another other story. Especially, again, with recent events of the recent franchise. From ever since this game came out way back when, and the other franchises that came after that, leading up to, it's like it makes you wonder. A, again, in Kill of Killers, how did Dutch get there? When did he get there? B, will we ever see him again? It'll be some shit to really see him again, you guys, especially of the forte of what he is supposed to be as of now. In the current aspect of things. For damn sure, if we're gonna see how they say his name again, Reese, if we're gonna see Reese again in that Predator armor and everything, because as she said, he took the armor, he took the ship, he bounced to West Hill somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, we were gonna see him again though. Where has he been this whole time? When has he been? Because again, all this shit you guys is happening in different time periods, all the same. So it's like, where or when, in a matter of speaking, right? Is he right now? Has he hooked up with a female predator? Does he have kids? Does he not? Like, what is good here? By chance, could that new young predator in this upcoming movie be his kid? Possibly. That is if he's still even alive, and if anything has occurred since then. You know what I'm saying? The point of the overall case is he still alive? And if he is, where's he at? And if we're ever going to see Isabella into the fray again, or would these people, help, recruit her to bring her back into the fray and see what happens from there on? You know what I'm saying? As for other, hopefully to say possible franchise movies that that are up to be the case of coming on through. I really want to know all this stuff because I really would want to see all this stuff transpire again. Again, especially after finding out almost to say left and right all this information. Y'all know what I mean? It's just that. And plus, if you guys catch along with the Dutch and Isabella tapes, it was almost talked about how Dutch never talked about how the Predators had came and gone or have ever been introduced, from the detective. Not either one. Always from Dutch's point of view versus Isabella's, because when they talked about Isabella, is when she got back after what happened on that planet and everything that we all wondered. Okay, so what the hell happened to him after the fact? Now we know. There you go. Again, for those who don't know all this stuff and who has not caught up or have kept track or so of any of this stuff, here you guys go. Here's the background information between Dutch and Isabella, of their point of views and their post events of what had occurred. But I would want to see a possibility of to see them again into these franchises, for sure. Now, the overall task at hand, you guys, is to find all these recordings, however the hell I can, for that matter too, to find these recordings and see what events had occurred with the OWLF from whenever it started of the time period I'm on there. Because obviously from these tapes, you guys, hopefully we can catch some points in time of when it started all the way towards the endings and see whatever else we can gather up together along the way. Other than that, you guys, that's about it. That's all I got for you for today. That was the stream. Like I said, it was only about the tapes. That's about it for the most part, And like I said, leave some questions, leave some spoilers, this and that, whatever, and we're hopefully find out even more about it in the midst of the future. Other than that, you guys, thanks for tuning in and watching. Thank you to any or all those who were with me this whole time during the stream. Or if you were in and out of the stream, that's okay too. I appreciate you all the same. Overall, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to all I had to say all through these tapes, more importantly, than whatever I had to say otherwise. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Please stay safe out there. Stay cool, because I know otherwise we're getting hot out there. Or depending on where you guys are at, be careful with this rain, because I did see past events of rain and thunder and stuff being crazy. So stay, either stay cool, stay warm, stay dry. Like I said, if it gets rainy and everything, be safe from thunderstorms, from people, either at the streets, the store, whatever. Because people nowadays been getting crazy and stupid too, you guys. So please do that. That's about it I got for you guys. Stay safe. Always remember to push past your limits and go beyond maximum overdrive. Stay tuned. Like I said, you guys, at some point, however I best can, there will be another lost audio tape video. I don't know when that's going to be. I don't know how long it's going to take me versus any other person to gather all these tapes and stream it for you guys. Either way, I will still do my best to collect them all again. Well, collect the OWLF tapes and give you guys a whole stream about it, and then just hop onto it from there and all that follows. Like I said, you guys, I'm really hoping for these characters or so to come on back for sure, or at least one of them, whichever. However, I am for damn sure excited about the movie coming up soon, as well as the TV show sometime either before or after. Like I said, I don't know when it's coming out for the TV show, but I'm overall still excited about it all the same, for sure. So watch out, be careful. Like I said, keep all this stuff in mind, you guys, as well. You know, keep on the track of what's been happening and to compare notes. You know, if y'all need to double watch all these movies too, from the Aliens to the Predator movies right before the new one, you know, comes on out. Or if not, you know, watch the TV show too. Because remember, you guys, the TV show is telling about other stuff too that has to do with the aliens. Or so it could be some predators involved too, as far as we know. We don't know. Not until the TV show drops. You know what I'm saying? So keep all the stuff in mind, you guys. Keep on tracking and what may have you, you know. And you know, that's for sure. Because like I said, with the alien movies, for the ones that came out sometime after, like it was telling events in between too, you guys. So keep that in mind too. As well, between Prometheus. Hang on. I think I have my listing right here. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Hang on. I got a listing movies here. Let me see. Okay, so I don't. I kind of do. I kind of don't. But Prometheus, Romulus, the Colony. I feel like there's a third one, you guys. Forgive me. It's been a minute. I know and feel like there's a third one. You guys can search that one up. But it's somewhere in there of this. Either way, keep track. Alright. I'm out of here, you guys. Thanks for tuning in once again. I'm out. Peace.